Talk about the most dropped players on CBSSports.com leagues. Obviously, Cole Kmet, obviously Trey Lance makes sense with the fractured ankle, not going to play, so redraft leagues is easy to move on from him. But Cole Kmet, Heath, are we making a mistake giving up on him now? It's been miserable. Only 2 targets, no catches. Are better days ahead if the Bears start to throw more?
Are the Bears ever going to start to throw more? Is my question. Maybe this week will give us an
29
indication.
attempts in 2 games.
Yeah, like he's thrown less pass attempts than Dak Prescott. He's played 3/4 of a game. I think this week will tell us, because if they can beat the Texans throwing the ball 14 times, then I'm afraid they might stay close to 500 all year long with this game plan. And Kmet and Mooney will both be droppable if that's the case.
You can't win consistently in this league throwing the ball 14, 15 times.
Well,
a year.
the weird thing about it is you understand week 1, rain.
Right, rain,
49ers didn't do anything.
The other night?
But they're down 2 touchdowns.
But what they didn't do is run it when they needed to run it and throw it when you needed to throw it.
Well, they played right into the Packers' hands.
Right.
So of course they're going to let you run out the clock.
Right.
I can see from their point of view, though, thinking, Justin Fields scored that touchdown. If they'd given us that touchdown, we're down by 7 in the 4th quarter. It was working.
Yes, but at the same time, when it was under 7 minutes left in the game and you're down 2 scores, you got to throw the ball.
Right.
I mean,
They have to open up the offense.
They're bathing.
They have to.
And it's we see
he missed some guys too.
We see absolutely he hasn't played well, but we see Cole Kmet on this list. We're going to probably see Darnell Mooney on this list if there's another game like this, because he's been
and he was going pretty high up in drafts.
Amazingly disappointing. Okay, so Mooney is already getting dropped in league so far. Is that a mistake?
I think it's too early for that. But at the same time, I saw somebody drop him in one of my leagues. I went and looked at my roster. I didn't have anybody I wanted to drop for him. So,
what round did he go in most drafts?
Mooney was, in some cases, in 3 receiver leagues, he was going around 5.
Yeah. Disappointment. Big disappointment.
The big thing that we were all banking on with Darnell Mooney, it wasn't necessarily his talent, which is a good player. It was the volume. It was because he was going to dominate targets compared to the rest of this receiving corps. But they're just not throwing, and so that takes away what his appeal is.
Yeah, he's a good player. If you put Darnell Mooney on the Packers, he'd be their #1 receiver and be a darn good player.
On the Titans, probably.
Yeah.
On a few teams.
Yeah.
The Patriots, he'd probably be the #1 receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of teams you could look at and say he'd be the #1 guy. Alberto, we saw that the Broncos last week, it was Cortland Sutton dominating targets, and everybody else was 2 or less. How much of a mistake was that by Russell Wilson to not involve Alberto a little bit more?
Big mistake, and they got to get him involved. Look, they have injuries there now. It's a concern. He's not playing well. The offensive line isn't playing well. He looks jumpy in the pocket. And it's not a good time to be going to play the San Francisco 49ers, I can tell you that. This is not a good week for them this week.
Well, and they've got like 4 different tight ends involved that they're throwing to. They threw a touchdown to a tight end last week.
Salbert.
It was Salbert. And week 1 it was Andrew Beck that was getting involved, and I guess was involved in week 2 on that reverse 4th down play. But yeah, there's too many tight ends involved for as small as the tight end pie is.
He could bounce back, but obviously not somebody you want to buy into for this week as a must-start option. All right, let's go to the most traded players here as we're looking at the roster trends and the guys that are on the move. CeeDee Lamb, Darrell Henderson, no surprise with some of these guys you're selling high on in terms of Henderson, maybe getting passed by Cam Akers. Akers had more touches last week. Zeke, buy low opportunity, looking at what's ahead for him in the matchup Monday night against the Giants. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, sell high. Robinson, sell high. McLaurin, buy low. You can sort of go through this all across the board and see how these guys are being viewed. Is this a buy low opportunity, Heath, for CeeDee Lamb, knowing that Dak Prescott could return in week 4?
Yeah, I could see someone saying, he just scored 14 fantasy points. I'm going to sell because I'm scared. But I think it's more of a buy low. I still expect that he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver once Dak Prescott's back. I think he'll be a top 20 wide receiver until then. So I wouldn't mind paying top 12 price.
You still think he's back by week 4?
No, if he's back by week. I mean,
I don't.
I would be surprised, especially if they win a game here. They're 2-1. Why would they rush him back? Because they don't need to. But if they lose and they're 1-2, and Dak says he's ready to go, the fact that they didn't put him on IR is a good sign for Dak Prescott and a good sign for CeeDee Lamb as well. Darrell Henderson, sell high.
So, sell high. I have zero confidence he's going to hold on to that starting job or stay healthy. So I'd be willing to take just about anything for Darrell.
Plus, don't you think they're going to be running by committee all year there?
Well, I don't think both those guys will stay healthy. Neither one of them ever has. Yeah. So
but when they're healthy, they're going to run by committee.
It seems like it.
Potentially, but Henderson still was on the field more. He had the better running game. How much of that was trying to get Akers going a little bit, especially in the second half. This is going to be an interesting game against the Cardinals, whoever stands out. But yes, now is the sell high window on Darrell Henderson if you're looking to flip him for something maybe like CeeDee Lamb, if that's the case.